Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
They got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
Is the next search on February 28, 2020? 7:44 p.m. How, does the FBI find people? The people's misspelled P-E-O-O-P-L-E.
I object.
Did the defendant find out how the FBI finds people in this case? Oh, she found out.
Because he's the guy.
Welcome back to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. Hope you had a fabulous lunch. I'm just finishing mine. Had some pecans, thanks to Josh. Some delicious Arms Family Homestead branded pecans. And then Mrs. R had gone to Sam's Club and bought like some dried fruit. And I was picking out the dried bananas out of the mix. It has like pineapple and mango and cashews and walnuts and bananas. I was just picking out the bananas. So now it is a banana-less mix. So it's delicious. Good stuff. And I may have given some for the squirrels. I put some out for the squirrels. So let's see. Lunch just finished breakfast. Have you had freeze-dried bananas? Not freeze-dried. I've always just done like dried, dehydrated. But isn't it basically the same thing? Jade, good to have you here. Jade 902's in the house. We can cancel the search party. Appreciate that. We were a bit concerned. Please put chat on the screen. I will. But if we do that, we're going to have to also we're going to have to say Greeners once again first in chat today. That means you don't get a reprieve yet. You were first this morning, you're first this afternoon, and now we're back. Freeze-dried preserves more nutrition. Freeze-dried or crispy? Dried bananas are super high in sugar, even more than regular bananas. How can that be, Laurie? How can you take a food and cook it and have more than what you started with? I do not get it. I don't get it. That's like free sugar, just dry bananas. You make free sugar. You can freeze dry soup. Oh, is it by weight? So it loses its the water volume.
How does he do that?
How do Greeners do that? What are your secrets? All right, we're going to be going to court here in just a little bit. Finishing up today with our court out of New Hampshire, which we'll be jumping to in just a moment. Like right now. Niagara Falls is near, guys. Wow, Niagara Falls is nearby. I'm lazy, says Northwest. Greeners can run the internet. I am trying to fix our soundbite. Chat's not on screen. I'll fix it here in just a minute. But I was trying to fix our soundbite. Big. And it sounds like this right now. Is it gone? Big is gone. Okay, so I didn't fix it. It's now gone. Let's copy this one. Refresh. It's taking the stand again. Waiting for the judge. Probably have to change that one. Hang on 1 second. Delete this. We're going to go back and re-edit a file. Open recent, judge quotes. We just want the end.
It's bigger than you. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than... It's bigger than you. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than all of us. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than all of us.
Whatever you want, Judge. I reviewed them, so.
Do you have issues?
Yeah, you have some, I think, misspoke on a couple things.
Judge, my hope is this is really going on for another hour.
I agree. Let's get to your testimony. Let's get through this. We'll have a chance at the end of the day to talk through it.
That's fine.
Very good. Are we ready to bring the jury in? Line them up, please.
Line them up.
It's bigger than you. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than all of us.
Okay. It sounds right on my test.
A couple of minutes.
If you guys want to test big now, maybe it'll work, but
It's not your turn to talk. I'll tell you when you can talk.
right.
It's bigger than you. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than...
It's got to be a volume thing. Oh, yeah, if you ask for something big too much, this is your response. So, sorry about that. I should have warned you. How juveniles as screeners. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fix that by cranking up the volume on it. Let's see. I can do that here.
It's bigger than you. It's bigger than me.
It's too quiet. I'll crank up this volume, so which might lose some of the effect, but copy and place on the cloud right here. Paste. Ding. Done. Now I can bring it up over here. Not sure what we're waiting for here, Judge. If you want to go ahead and start court, that would be great. Import media, big.
Squirrel!
Let's try this.
Please be seated.
If I may, Your Honor.
You may.
Thank you. Jason, let me backtrack just a bit. You recall getting to the police
It's
station?
bigger than you.
I do.
And when you got to the police station, how would you describe your physical condition?
I'll get it working.
I was extremely tired. I was extremely shaken.
Were you in like the same condition then that you are like right now?
Definitely not. I am well rested, alert, and ready for today.
During the course of your interrogation with the police, you complained on a number of occasions of being hot or cold. Remember that?
I do.
What was going on there?
I was tired. I'd just gone through a lot. I started feeling a little bit dizzy when we were going up in the elevator. We got in the room. It was cold, then it was hot. I was extremely tired. I was definitely not with it, I guess you could say.
And you asked to rest a couple times?
Yes, that was the one thing that was on my mind the most was trying to get some sleep. It was hard to stay awake, to say the least.
But how many times did you nod off?
I don't really remember how many times. I know there's a few times. I know I asked to lay down. I remember waking up on the floor in the interview room. Much past that, I don't remember a whole lot about the interview. I was extremely surprised yesterday to find out it went on for 3.5 hours.
You didn't even know it went on that long?
No, sir. I thought my best recollection would have been probably approximately an hour.
So when we were discussing the length of time that the interview took, that came as a surprise to you even yesterday?
Yes, it did. I don't know how I stayed awake that long.
What was going through your mind when you were discussing this situation with the police?
I was scared. A lot had just happened. I wasn't clear on a lot of the things. I was trying to process it and help them get through it so we could figure out exactly what happened, and that way I could get home and get some rest.
So basically, you went there, you were going to give them a statement, and you're thinking, well, then I'm going to go home and just go to sleep.
Yes. That was my number one objective.
Now, during the course of the interrogation, you pointed out to the police that you had video cameras. Remember that?
I do.
And why'd you bring that up to him?
We were talking. We had talked about another time when I had talked about a video camera capturing something in my house. And they said, "Oh, you have cameras?" I said, "Yes, I do." And they asked if they could get them. I said, "Of course you can." I gave them the location of where they were at, and I gave them password to access them.
So you actually gave them location and password access to the digital material?
Yes, I did. I have 2 different hard drives. I have one in the garage, one in the house. I told them exactly where they were, and I told them the passwords for both of them.
Why did you want them to have that?
Because I was having a hard time clearly remembering all the events that transpired, and I knew that the videos would help clarify that for them.
And is that why you were sitting there for this interview to start with?
Absolutely.
Do you think you were in such a condition that night to give an accurate account of what took place?
I don't think so. I was extremely exhausted. Again, I was extremely surprised that I was awake for 3.5 hours at the police station. Well, I guess I wasn't awake the whole time. I did take a nap or two, I was told, but.
If I could, Your Honor, we'd like to show one more video, and then I'd like Jason to sit back just for a few more questions, and then I'll wrap it up.
Does he have to get up close to watch this one?
I think this is one that will be marked, has been marked as Defendant B.
Should I step down to the
If
TV?
you could, so you could direct us.
If you could, so you could direct
Again,
us,
this is a
not necessarily so you can
clip
see.
that will go back to the deliberation. I'll ask you questions, Jason, as we move along, if need be. Okay? Okay, why don't we stop? Now, this video is a slow motion video. It's marked as Defendant B. And as we go through it, it may give us a better opportunity to make some identification. What do you see in this particular frame?
In this particular frame, I see my This is my plow truck. This is the plow. This is still banking in front of 39 Summer Street. This is my driveway right here. This is the bush that's in the landscaping at the front left of my property. It looks like this is tile right here. I believe it's kind of paused in a fuzzy frame. And I'm going to have to guess, I can't see myself right now, I'm right there, walking the house.
Okay, so you're actually bent down at that point in time?
I'm guessing so because I don't see myself in the frame, but I don't know how we got to this particular point that we just started.
Yeah, we can go right back to the beginning.
Okay.
Go right back. Okay, here we go. Okay, hold it.
There's my header. So I'm hammered down at the hub, and that's tile approaching me right there.
Okay, so you're actually in a position where you're kneeling or crouching down, and he is erect and walking toward you.
That's correct. From looking at this, it looks like my view's partially, probably blocked by the flowers there.
Okay, yeah, you got that wing flower.
Right.
Okay, why don't we get it going? And
Now
stop.
I'm standing up.
Right there. Okay, is that the first time you're eyeball to eyeball with him?
I can't see anything in this picture.
Yes, it is. That's myself, that's my face, and that's just my left right there.
And is he saying anything to you at that point in time?
I believe he has already said to me something about if you plow snow in front of my house, I'll fucking kill you and your family.
Okay, so this is the first initial threat, right?
That's correct.
Why don't we continue?
He
Stop.
approached me. Oh, right
What's
there.
going on there?
Oh, now it looks like we're kissing, but that's me. That's him.
It looks like we're
face to
kissing.
face. His nose is touching my face, and he's expressing to me how he's going to kill me and my family for plowing snow.
Is that making any sense at all to you at that
No,
point?
it's going very fast. He's saying he's very animated. He's very upset.
Again, you and I did a little courtroom demonstration. It wasn't perfect, I'm sorry, I'm kind of vertically challenged, you know. But the bottom line is that this guy, he's about 6 foot or so, your size.
Yes, I'd say he's probably exactly the same height.
And he's literally got part of his face literally on your face at this point.
That is correct.
And he's shouting threats.
That is correct.
How you feeling there?
Scared?
Keep going.
Then
He
move.
backs off a little bit.
And then he points again. If you plow snow in my fucking driveway, I'll kill you and your fucking family.
All right, now he's walking away a little.
Yep.
Then what?
Now he's saying you don't believe me. You don't fucking believe me. I'll kill you and your family.
Okay, that's when he says, stop. That's when he says, you don't believe me? You don't fucking believe me? I'll kill you and your family.
That's correct.
Didn't say anything about snow that time, did he?
No.
Now what? Now hold on, stop right there. Did you pull a firearm on him or anything at that point?
No, I did not.
Did you make any aggressive movement toward him at that point?
I did not. I didn't speak either. I still was shot. I still froze.
Now I know this is in slow motion. What's your estimate of how long that interaction actually took by this time?
Maybe a few seconds, 5 seconds.
Why don't we keep going? He's walking back now.
Okay, now he's walking away.
Yeah. Keep going. Now what? What's he doing there? Stop.
Again, he's pointing. If you put snow in my driveway, I'm going to kill you and your family.
All right, so he's making that threat again.
That's correct.
Keep going. Don't making arm gestures. Stop.
Yeah, I'm going to kill you and your family.
How many times do you think he said something like that?
What did you do?
Keep going. Okay. Pointing again.
You don't believe me?
He said what?
You don't believe me?
Now what? Let's go.
Now he's walking away.
Right?
He's moving.
Now
Saying,
what?
I'm not exactly sure if he's saying something at that point, but he turned back around towards me. You can see him coming towards me.
Right.
I pulled my firearm, and I shot him.
Thank you. Should resume the seat.
Okay, Cross. You're going to play that in real time and say, speed talk through how many times, how fast you would have had to talk to say that many times in slow motion.
So, right before you pulled the firearm and pulled the trigger for the first time, he had walked away some distance.
He did.
And then all of a sudden he turned around.
He did.
And he was walking toward you.
He was.
Do you know why?
I'm assuming that he wanted to play out his threat. I mean, he was coming back at me. That was my assumption.
And by the time he had come by for that last time, he had come after you how many times in your best estimation?
5 or 6.
I think they asked you in your interview whether you had aimed for any particular spot on his body.
I believe they might have. I'd have to reference the interview, but I believe it was a question they asked.
But I mean, right now, is your best recollection, were you taking aim at any specific part of his body?
No.
What was going through your mind? What were you trying to do?
I was just trying to neutralize the threat. The person who was coming at me, threatening me, I just wanted to stop the threat. I wanted to protect myself and my family.
Now, you saw in that first video, not this one, but the first video that once you got hit, you got down on the ground and you was scrambling around.
I did see that.
What was going through your mind then, if you can recall?
Again, what was going through my mind, what I can remember at that time, was it's like the TV shut off, then it came back on in a flash where I saw him on the ground, getting up on all fours and starting towards my front steps.
And that's when you discharged the firearm again?
That's when I discharged the firearm again.
Well, I ask the next couple of questions. I just want to make sure a solid foundation here. Some folks have been in the service and have had actual combat experiences. Are you one of those kind of people?
No, sir.
Some folks, fortunately or unfortunately, have been engaged in actual combat situations where they had to discharge firearms at other human beings and strike them. Were you ever in that kind of situation before?
No, sir.
Some folks actually are avid hunters and they discharge firearms and they've shot game. Have you ever shot even like a chipmunk in your life?
No, sir.
Who shoots chipmunks?
Is this the first time you discharged a firearm in self-defense?
Yes, it was.
Is this the first time you discharged a firearm and struck a living, breathing being? You know?
Yes, it was.
Did you ever think you'd be in that kind of situation on April 4th, 2024?
No, I didn't.
Do you think about it a lot?
Every day. Sorry.
Did you ever that day ever think you'd ever hurt somebody as badly as you did?
No.
Let me ask you some bottom line questions. I'm going to let you go, okay?
Okay.
Prosecutor can ask all the questions. Did you go out there that night to try to kill Kyle Violet?
No, I didn't. I wish he would have just gone home when he first started walking that way.
Were you trying to inflict serious bodily injury on him or bodily injury at any point in time? Is that your intent?
No, it wasn't. I just didn't want him to hurt me or my family.
Saying the right things, but he's keeping his eyes closed, not making eye contact with the jury.
Thank you, Jay.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
No, I don't. Maybe television.
Let's see how demeanor changes. Because this is big.
It's bigger than you. It's bigger than me.
Why won't it play this? I think they're going to have to come out swinging. Possibly the spiciest part of the trial coming up right here.
Mr. Levesque, it's certainly obvious by now, but I think I already did an introduction. My name is Dr. Clark. I do have questions about some of the things you've heard, some of the things you did, and a number of the claims you've made, both to the police and today. Those will be the areas of my questions.
Absolutely.
But before we get into, what happened on the 4th and the facts of this case, you brought up with your lawyer a prior incident that I want to talk about. You've made this claim today that 6 months before this happened, back in October of the previous year, you had an incident out in front of your house.
Somewhere between October and November, that's correct.
Approximately 6 months before this happened.
Somewhere around there.
Just to be clear, you indicated today that was this person out in front of your house was Kyle, right?
That is correct.
But here's one of the questions I have, is that when you were meeting with the police on the 4th and the 5th, you said you'd never seen Kyle before that date back in October, right?
Not to the best of my knowledge.
But you also said
we're going to hear that a lot.
On the 4th, that you couldn't even pick him out of a lineup, right?
I'd have to look at the transcript.
Sure. Judge, may I approach?
Sure.
I'm going to show you.
We happen to have the transcript.
State's Exhibit 29.
Sure.
Seems willing.
And I'm going to direct your attention to page 143, line 9.
Give me just a moment.
Yeah.
Take your time. There's a lot of pages there.
Page 143, line what?
Yeah, so let's start at line 5. You say, look, this is to the Detective Garson. Line 2, you don't even know his name? No clue. And you go on to say, I've never had an interaction with him at all, ever, in my life. And you went on to say it at line 8 and 9.
Yeah.
And this is on April 4th. I wouldn't be able to pick, if you said, here's 3 people, pick one of them as your neighbor. I honestly wouldn't be able to pick him. Never seen him before. And so on the 4th, you couldn't pick out from 3 photos, Kyle, Violet, but you're claiming there was some incident 6 months earlier involving Kyle. Yeah?
That is correct. I also claimed I was surprised I was awake at that time.
Pardon me?
At this time at the interview at page 143?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised I was even awake at that time.
Okay, so your explanation for explaining to the detective that you wouldn't even be able to recognize Kyle is that you were tired then?
I'm guessing I don't remember this conversation. However, if it's there, then I said it.
Okay, and it's true you didn't have any prior interactions with Kyle?
Before October, November? No, I did not.
And so you said that, but that might be one of your tired statements.
Yes.
Okay. You also just claimed to this jury that, you know, it was this prior incident where he said I'm a rat and he threatened me, that caused you to get your video cameras. That's what you told the police. Excuse me, that's what you told this jury today, correct?
Yes, some of them, that's correct.
What?
Some of them, yes, that's correct. I've had previous video cameras, but the ones that they obtained, that's when I got them.
So how many more did you have and when did you have them?
Before I was trying out different Wi-Fi cameras,
Yep.
particularly Wise. I had an issue with internet where they didn't connect all the time, so I went to closed circuit setup.
Okay. Just to be clear, you did not claim to the police, you know, it was this prior incident that prompted me to get videos. You just referred to having videos, but back in July of 2023. That would be before the supposed incident next door.
That is correct. That's when I had the Wise cameras.
Okay. But that's not something you teased out with the police. You agree with me?
There was a lot going on that evening. There may be things that I didn't think were important at the time.
Okay. So this is just another incident where you didn't make a complete answer that might have been, you know, important to understand whether you really did react to a real threat in October.
I'm not sure what you're saying, but
what I'm asking is, look, you explained to the police that you had video back in July of the previous year, correct?
that is correct from a Wise camera.
And now you're claiming to the jury, oh, I got video after the incident in October, correct?
I did, because I was having trouble with the other system, so I got a closed circuit system.
And claiming that you reacted to this prior incident by getting more video is never something that you told the police, correct?
I don't recall if I told them that or not.
In fact, talking about this prior claim, you even told the police, look, it was because of this so-called prior threat that you started carrying your firearm.
Again, if you'd like to refer to what page that's on.
No problem. It is page 100, line 22, 23. Page 100.
Seem very defensive. He's got a lot of things to defend. The prosecutor can just resort to, oh, that you were tired then too? Oh, you're tired? Is that so? Were you just tired? Is that why you made that statement? You're going to hear that a lot. Sorry, that's my phone, Judge. It's a scammer. I'll hang up on
Line
it.
23, you say, ever since that day, and the so-called prior threat, that day that he threatened me, I don't leave the house without him. And Garson asked you, had you carried prior to that day of this so-called threat? And you said, no, not really.
And again, I don't remember saying that, but obviously if it's there, I must have said it.
Well, not remember saying it now. You agree doesn't mean that was your claim to police, right? You did claim that to the police.
If it's in there, then yes, I did.
All right. And so what you didn't say is, oh, you know, I actually started, you didn't admit that you had actually started carrying a firearm well before any so-called encounter in front of your porch. It was the machete incident.
That is why. Again, the evening that this took place,
Yeah.
I was not in the best state of mind.
Understood.
Okay.
But you'd agree with me that you made it sound like there was a prior incident that caused you to take precautions like carrying a firearm, and that's not true.
The prior incident with Mr. Violet, or the prior incident at Home Depot?
With Mr. Violet.
That was not the reason why I was carrying it.
Right, but that's what you told police. You made that claim.
I did in that, yes.
you made the claim that the reason you got video was the prior incident from Mr. Violet. But that's not true either, right? You had video.
I'm not sure what you're saying right at the moment.
You claimed to this jury that the reason you went out and got video was this so-called prior threat. Remember saying that on direct?
I do. That is why I got the current video equipment that I have.
Okay. Your explanation to the police was you'd already had it, and then when we were having this conversation, the reason you got it was because you were having Wi-Fi trouble.
Could you reference where here I told them I got it for that?
No, I'm just saying that you referenced it in July, which necessarily means it was before you had a incident, so-called incident with Mr. Violet in October.
In July, I did have Wi-Fi video cameras on my property.
You claim that this prior incident with the machete, while you're on the job, resulted in you calling 911, correct?
Actually, no. My manager, Mike Kelly, called 911.
Okay. You reported it to somebody.
That is correct.
And did he tell you he was calling 911?
Yes, he did.
And you certainly concurred with that?
That's correct.
Because you've called 911 if something really did happen to you that you found threatening and violent and inappropriate, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
But to be clear, you've never claimed that you called 911 or anyone else after this supposed incident with Mr. Violet 6 months before this event.
That is correct.
Yeah. You claimed to the jury that it was such a threat that you were concerned about your daughter, so much so that you had to supposedly escort her, but this threat wasn't serious enough to call 911.
Again, I didn't want to engage with him, and I didn't want to have the police come and then nothing happened, and then I have to deal with him later.
All right, so the machete one, that was good enough to call. Here, the supposed threat to your daughter wasn't enough to provoke you to call the phone, call the police and say, we need to work something out here to mitigate risk about your daughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
What was the
At that
rat
time, I
comments
decided
about?
it was not the appropriate action. I didn't want to enrage him in case something else happened.
And just to be clear, your claim about this prior incident in October, November, this involved a guy that you couldn't pick out of a lineup, and after hearing him outside in front of your place, you went inside to your home.
I went inside to my parents, yes.
You did not see where this man went, correct?
No, I did not.
And concerning, Mr. Violet, just to be clear, that this guy calls you a rat. You had never called the police for any reason on Mr. Violet, right?
That is correct.
And so this guy makes this claim, you can't pick this guy out of a lineup, and you go inside and the guy leaves. Concerning Mr. Violet, after that supposed incident in October, you can confirm that there were just no other incidents or contacts you had with Mr. Violet up until April 4th, correct?
That is correct.
You said, I might have seen him emptying his trash or something, right?
Yes.
But in other respects, there was no additional contacts, innocuous or otherwise, correct?
That is correct.
All right. And so that, I guess, brings us forward. Your claim that there was a threat 6 months earlier, nothing happened after that with this person outside.
That is correct.
And so now let's talk about the incident, okay?
Sure.
It sounds like there's really no dispute. I mean, we've seen it on 4 different camera angles. You just walked through it. You came home after picking up your daughter at work.
That's correct.
You took, I don't know, 3 runs towards Mr. Violet's home at 43.
That's correct.
And you would explain to the police, your perception of that event was, pretty basic, right?
I believe so.
All right. And so this is an area that I want to get into, but at the sequence of events. But let's start at the very end, because I want to revisit something you said. You got into your truck after shooting Kyle, right?
That is correct.
And your claim is you got into the truck and pulled into your driveway and you made a joke.
I did.
Your claim to this jury is you made a joke to your daughter, 19 at the time?
Yes.
Should I run?
Yes.
And you suggest to the jury, to this court, that was to make light of the whole situation?
To lighten the mood, yes.
At that very moment,
there's a guy
Kyle
dying in the
is
yard.
30 feet from you, dying in the street.
Yeah, timing.
Yeah?
That is correct.
And you want to lighten the moment is your claim? Isn't it true that even in your state, you were struggling with the basic notion of what you had just done?
That is correct.
You told the police, let me just make sure I'm accurate with this, at 20. Line 5. This is in the after the fact.
Sorry, I missed the page. What was the page
Yeah,
number?
20, line 5.
What page?
What?
What page?
20, line 5.
Oh, 20, line 5, sorry.
No, my fault.
No,
Page 20, line 5.
Thank you.
You're talking to Garston, and you say, thinking back, and you're looking back on shooting him, and you say, I made a bad decision. And you struggle with it. I don't know if I made a bad decision. This is the moment, the issue you're claiming you made light of?
That's correct.
You start by apologizing to Kira, saying, I'm sorry.
Yes.
And isn't it true that not in a light, frivolous effort to lighten the mood, you were really concerned that you'd made a very bad decision, and you asked her whether you should run?
I was not looking for guidance in that. Like I said, it was an ill-made joke.
And she responded to you, didn't she? She said, not, ha ha ha, that's a good one, Dad. She said, no, you shouldn't run, in a very serious.
That's correct.
And you responded again and say, well, what should I do? That wasn't a joke, right?
I don't remember that.
You're not saying it didn't happen?
I don't recall.
You recall talking to Kira?
I do recall talking to Kira.
And you're saying you don't remember saying, to your question, well, what should I do? You should stay. This is your path. I don't know what you should do, but this is your path. Remember that?
I do not remember those words, no.
Mr. Levesque, isn't it just true? I mean, as a matter of common sense, you asked Kira whether you should run because you knew what you did was wrong and you didn't want to face the consequences of it.
That is incorrect.
Then let's return to your plowing. You had told the police that you moved the snow into the front part of the driveway of my neighbor, where my neighbor's grass is, and then backed up, correct?
That is correct.
And look, I don't want to make too much of the snow thing, but you would just describe to the jury just not having any basis to even understand what Kyle was saying about not moving snow, correct?
I was referencing 39 Summer Street.
Okay. And so you can confirm, though, after the, quote, first snowstorm of that year, Kyle had approached you about putting snow on his property, and the response was, hey, something to the effect of, look, it'll melt.
That's incorrect. I've never had a discussion with Kyle before that evening about snow.
Did somebody else did you know whether anybody else in your family did?
Not to the best of my knowledge.
Like Kira?
Not to the best of my knowledge.
Okay. So your claim is that there hadn't been any discussions about where snow was to be deposited or not, right?
Could you be a little more clear about exactly what you're talking about and when?
Yeah, at any time prior to this night, there hadn't been any discussions, any disputes about where you put snow with respect to Kyle's property.
With Kyle?
Yeah.
Not with Kyle, no.
There had been this issue that you brought up about snow next to your maple tree.
That is correct, not with Kyle.
Okay. But it happens that Kyle came out while you were, we can agree, still in the middle of this plowing operation.
That is correct.
Okay. You described to the police and to the jury getting out of your truck to manually adjust the hub so it went into four-wheel.
Yes.
And that you were going to back drag the snow out.
That is correct.
Wherever you were going to put that snow had just not yet happened, correct?
I hadn't even back dragged the snow yet.
So it hadn't happened yet. Wherever you were going to put it hadn't happened yet.
That's correct.
And here's the next thing that happens. You actually see Kyle coming out of his driveway, correct?
I saw Kyle approaching at some point.
Well, he was in his driveway, correct?
I'm not exactly sure at what point it was.
Why don't you turn to page 34, line 4.
It says, I saw him coming out of the house. This is before the video. Before the video was seen, it says he saw him coming out of the house. This is going to be a problem.
Got it?
I do.
And you explained to Officer Garston you are manually locking his hubs. They're electric, so I got to have to do that. And, quote, that's when he came up the driveway.
That is correct.
So you saw him from, I don't know, 40 feet away at the first instance.
That's what that says.
What?
That's what that says. I don't remember that, but that's what that says.
Oh, I'm sorry, you don't remember the first time seeing Kyle?
I do not remember seeing him in the driveway.
All right. Do you can confirm for the jury that you went on to describe corroborated details, like down at the bottom of page 34. Yeah, and there I saw him come from. When I finally see him coming out of the driveway, you say it again, that's when you see him, right?
It does say that. And
you even describe what he's doing. He's putting on his shirt.
Yes, I do.
He was shirtless, so he was putting on his shirt.
Yeah, that's...
Yes, I do. You asked me if I remembered that. I do not remember that. However, yes, I did state that.
Then I guess there's this tension of you being tired that night with the issue of memory. You agree with me that's much closer in time to these events than your testimony today?
Yes, it was.
You agreed with me that that is a responsive statement to the officer. Well, you know, when did you see him? Yeah?
Yes.
You agree with me that that's a detailed statement about where you saw him and what his actions were?
I was doing my best to try and piece together what I remembered.
You did a good job. I mean, it's corroborated that he was coming out of his driveway putting his shirt on, right?
Yes, we saw the video. Yes, he was.
And so you'd agree with me. You got that one right.
Yes.
That's right.
And so he's coming out of his driveway. You see him from this some 40 feet away. And just to confirm, you can see his hands, correct?
I don't remember.
Didn't see any weapons, correct?
Again, no, I did not see any weapons.
And as he's approaching that distance between his driveway when you first see him, you don't actually remember or know what he was saying, if anything, correct?
Sorry, could you ask me the question one more time?
Yeah, as he's approaching from the driveway, you don't actually know what he was saying, if anything, correct?
In the very beginning, I'm not sure if he had been yelling or what he had been saying. It wasn't until he was up closer to me that I had really started understanding what he was saying.
Okay, so when he's walking over, you're not claiming that he said anything at that point, correct?
I don't believe so, no.
You could hear a noise coming. You realized he's coming because you saw him.
I believe so.
And you actually described not only him putting on his shirt, but consistent with what we see on the video, you described that he was coming at a fairly fast pace.
Yes.
You confirmed to officers that as he's walking over, you could actually see his hands.
Yes.
They asked you details about that observations, and you claimed you were able to describe that as his hands appeared to be clenched.
When I did notice him and he was close to me, yes, I did.
Well, actually, this is on the way over. And you confirmed that you didn't see any weapons.
I did not see any weapons.
You confirmed that he never moved towards your daughter.
He did not move towards my daughter.
You can confirm that at no point did he make a claim or a threat that he was actually armed.
He did not make a claim or a threat he was actually armed.
For example, if you move that snow, I will stab you with a knife that I have on me.
He never made that claim.
Or a screwdriver.
No.
And here's what we can, now get into this first chapter of when he actually reaches you. You stand up, correct?
That's correct.
This is after you making observations of his pace, of him putting stuff on and not holding anything, correct?
That is correct.
And your claim is that what he says is, if you put that fucking snow at the end of my fucking driveway, I'm going to kill you and your fucking family.
That is correct.
And you explain to the officers, look, this is not a memory issue, this isn't a sleep issue, that's exactly what he said.
That is correct.
And on this point, you're not confused or lacking any memory, correct?
That is correct.
You use the term verbatim. That means word for word, right?
That is correct.
And even at this point, where he's close to the truck, he doesn't make any gesture, any recognition that there's anybody, including your daughter, in the actual vehicle, correct?
No, he does not.
He doesn't reference your daughter specifically, correct?
That is correct.
He doesn't reference her name, right?
That is correct.
And this is the point where you're, quote, nose to nose.
Nose to cheek.
Cheek to cheek.
Cheek to cheek.
No. Say at this point, while you're face to face, nose to nose, you step back a little, you step forward, you step back, but kind of within that, I don't know, arm's length distance, correct?
That is correct.
You claim that he repeated, if you put the fucking snow in front of the house again, I'll fucking kill you.
That is correct.
Okay. So that's twice where he's referred to you needing to do something in the future for him to do something, correct?
That is correct.
Started at 45 this morning, so we've got 21
and
just today.
Then he walks away, correct?
That is correct.
And now there's a distance of 15, 20 feet between the two of you, right?
I believe so. I believe there was another interaction before he walked that far away. If you'd like to reference the video on this, it'd be helpful.
And you described to the police officers the threats that were made about moving snow when you were face to face.
That is correct.
He then moves away from you, and you told the officers that, I don't know if he repeated it again before he walked off, but he walked off, and then you described what he said. It's page 43, line 19. Got it?
Line 19.
Yeah, you said to the officers, then he walked, I don't know if he repeated it again after those 2 times. And then for some reason he stopped, turned around, he's walking away and said, and this is what you told officers, you don't fucking believe me. Right?
That's correct.
Just to be clear, you said that also at page 20.
Did I miss one?
Lines 3 and 4. Oops.
Just a reminder, we count them, we don't say them in chat.
I'm sorry about that. Lines 3 and 4. You described it. You know how the detective looped back, asked you about a situation. So on line, at page 20, you said again, he started to walk off, then he turned around again, and he's like, you don't fucking believe me.
That's correct.
All right. So 2 instances where you explained to the police what Mr. Violet supposedly said about, you don't believe me.
That's
In
correct.
neither of those claims to the police do you say he added, just independently, I'm going to fucking kill you. Right?
Not right there, but I think if we look further in it, you'll find that I did include that.
Absolutely. Look anywhere, because every single time you describe him actually making a threat, it's conditional.
That is incorrect.
Well, you have told the jury what he said was, you don't believe me? I'm going to fucking kill you. Right?
That's correct.
Unconditional threat.
Correct.
Problem is, you described to the police twice, not once, but twice,
Yeah.
this claim that he turned around and said, what, you don't believe me? And never once said he made an independent threat. Not once.
I don't know. I haven't looked through the whole thing, but I can assure you that he did say it.
You just didn't tell the police about it.
I don't know. I haven't looked through this whole transcript, but I can tell you he did say it, and I'm pretty sure it's probably in there. I've not looked through every page of it.
You're welcome to do that, but you agree with me, these are 2 instances where you specifically bring up that moment where he said, you don't believe me. And he did not add a standalone threat.
No, you're absolutely right. I didn't add that. Again, I was not completely coherent, awake, or remembering everything that was going on. I was doing my best to try and piece this together with them.
The vacuum, I can show you what it means, but I'd have to mouth the words. Just look in the mirror and mouth the word vacuum. That's what it means.
He gestures to the snow in front of your place. You agree that he's saying, don't move that over to my place, correct?
I believe so. Again, if you'd like to bring the video up and you want to talk about it, I'd have a better understanding of what point we're talking about.
You don't recall, you just described him walking away, correct?
Which he did multiple times, yes.
He actually walks away once, and then he turns back towards you, and that's the moment I want to talk about.
The first time, when because he was up close to me, he walked a few steps back and then came back to me again.
Okay.
Are we talking about that time?
Yeah, no, that's the incident in front of the plow. Now when he walks, as I think I mentioned, probably 15 or 20 feet away.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're on the same.
You got that?
Yeah.
Fair?
That's fair.
At that point, you say he stopped, turned, and walked back towards you.
That is correct.
He took a couple of steps towards you.
I believe so,
yes. To the mirror.
And
Show of hands. I
you
need to see.
then, at this point, brandish that is produced and point at the firearm.
That is correct.
And you actually close the gap. You walk towards him with the firearm.
That is correct.
You made the claim to the police that you didn't walk towards him, but that wasn't true, right?
After seeing the video, that is what happened.
Okay.
Again, I was tired.
Yeah.
I was doing my best to help them.
Got it. So this is another mistake where it sort of helps your self-defense claim. You claim to the police, I didn't walk towards him, but in fact you did, correct?
I did, correct.
And let's just be clear about this. We've all been here to watch this video, these videos, repeatedly. right?
Yes.
And you describe him having walked back to the front of his house and then turned and came back towards you. You drew your firearm.
That is incorrect. He never walked to the front of his house. He never left the front of my house.
Okay, to the front of your house.
I mean, that's a big deal. It's a big difference. It's two different properties.
Absolutely, 100%.
Thank you.
You're right. So he makes it, as I think I previously said, about 15 or 20 feet away.
That is correct.
And turns around. And you've agreed that you pull out the gun and you point it at him.
That is correct.
You're walking towards him.
That is correct.
But here's where things diverge in terms of what claims you've made. You made the claim to the police that when you pulled out the firearm, he actually hastened his pace towards you. Your words, right?
Again, I don't remember clearly what I said that night, and my memory of what happened was starting to piece things together.
Well,
it was not a clear image.
Okay. If you don't remember what you said that night, let's turn to page 48.
This is brutal dismantling of this testimony.
Line 10, line 9. When he started coming back at me again, I didn't want to take, I went and drew my firearm and I pointed at him. Are we clear on that?
Absolutely. Anything that's in here, I said.
Yeah. Even being tired, you remember that, correct?
Do I remember saying it?
Yeah.
No, I do not remember saying it.
Being tired, or now, do you remember that?
I do not remember saying that when I was tired.
Do you remember that happening?
Me drawing the firearm at him? Yes, I do.
Okay. And then you claimed to officers that at that point, that's when he came at me. He was coming back at me like he was ready to go.
That is correct.
You said he approached you after you drew the firearm to within 3 feet of you.
No, I might have said that then. Again, I didn't have a clear memory of it. After looking at the video, he was not within 3 feet of me.
After you pulled the firearm, you claim his hand was in a...
I'm sorry. Further 3 feet.
Okay. An objection on the part of the defense to hopefully reset the defendant on the stand because he is losing his composure. And that can get him into trouble.
Is there an objection?
Yeah, there's an objection.
What's that?
Objection.
I think you think objection wants to compare and say what you're referring to is being followed.
Well,
objection saying what are you referring to?
I'll give him an opportunity. I have no objection to redirect, and I'd like to come back to that.
Well, I will redirect, and I'll ask him to withdraw the 3 feet quote, unless I can get a page number. I have a page of line number for a approximate distance, and this is not 3 feet, I guarantee you that.
Council President, can you raise a question or?
Sure. Let's
challenging the distance
move from
he cited
from this
in the
issue of
question.
what you observed him doing once you drew the firearm. Okay.
Okay.
You claim that he, as you just said, he was coming back at me like he was ready to go.
That is correct.
And like before, he was kind of, he had a hand in a fist. Now he was coming at me like he was going to attack me, or he was going to take the gun.
That is correct.
And that you claim happened after you drew the firearm.
That is correct.
You explained to the officer, he was asking, can you be more specific? And you said, well, you can just tell if somebody's going to attack you, right?
I would believe that's a reasonable assumption.
Based on what?
And you said that his hands were clenched in a fist, but he didn't have any weapon, correct?
That is correct.
And you claim that after drawing the gun, he kept coming at you at a pretty fast pace.
That's what I remembered at that time.
In fact, you claim that he actually quickened his pace once the firearm came out.
Again, that's what I remembered at that time, according to that statement.
And you said that you could see the look in his eye, and that's when you knew you had to shoot him.
That is correct.
Here's the problem. You've just been referring to the videotape.
Yep.
When you drew the gun before you fired, Kyle Violet stopped. He didn't quicken his pace, did he? You've seen the video.
After my gun was drawn and
Yeah.
just milliseconds before I pulled the trigger, yes, he did turn.
Not even milliseconds. You drew the gun back almost at the plow. You closed the distance by some 1, 2, 3 feet. And during that time, you turned away from the gun.
During that time, he was still approaching me. If you'd like to reference the video, I'd be more than happy.
We will. It's
Okay.
totally in evidence. But your claim is he was bum rushing you while you had the gun, right?
Never used the word bum rush. I don't even know what it means.
Did you see the video where
Don't Google
at
it.
the evergreen tree, he stops and turns away well before you fire the gun?
Again, I don't have a clear time reference, but I know it was extremely quick.
Did you see the video when Detective Daney was actually looking at frame by frame, and he says his feet are turned all the way 90 degrees before the shot went off?
I did hear his testimony, and yes, I did hear him say that.
Did you see the video? You were standing right here.
I did see the video.
And he was not facing you when you had the gun out.
When I fired, no, he was not facing me. However, like I said, the time, I don't know. Things move very quickly.
Well, we actually have real time in this video. So, I mean, the jury can count the seconds that went by after you took out the firearm, and they can make the determination whether Kyle stopped and how much you advanced on him pointing the weapon.
Sure. I welcome it.
You had been asked about your familiarity with this firearm. You actually took it to the range, correct?
That's correct.
You used to take Kira to the range.
That's correct.
You knew full well what this firearm was capable of doing.
That's correct.
And so, as he stops and turns, unarmed, you fired at him.
I did not see him turn. When I drew my firearm, it kind of all went blank.
Pardon me?
When I drew my firearm and I fired it, it was blacked out. I don't remember.
You were blacked out?
I don't have a conscious memory of what happened.
You told the officers that that's when you pulled the trigger.
You're absolutely, that is what I said in that statement. And again, I'll tell you, I was tired. I was doing my best to try and piece together the information I had.
You told the officers that you ultimately pulled the trigger 6 times, correct?
That is correct.
You didn't say, you know, I counted up the rounds afterwards, whether and then I discovered it was empty. You described pulling the trigger and then emptying rounds. That was a conscious thought and statement you made on the 4th.
It did make that statement. I never said that I remember pulling the trigger that many times. I knew that I pulled the trigger that many times after I accounted for the bullets that were missing from the magazine.
Can you just turn to page 54?
Absolutely.
It's starting to crumble. I mean, faster now.
Line 11. This is after you pulled out the gun, Garston asks, so you start walking, he starts walking towards you? What happens next? As soon as I saw that look in his eye, I knew I had to protect my family, and I pulled the trigger. Yeah?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. You seem to have a memory of it there. You didn't stop and explain, no, I was kind of blacked out. I only inferred that I pulled the trigger. In fact, he asked, how many times did you pull the trigger? He said 6. So you fully emptied it? Yeah.
That's correct.
And you actually go on to describe. So the first one that I first shot, it hit him.
Again, I don't have a clear memory of what I told the officer. I know that I was blacked out at the time. I was trying to put together what I did have for information to try and help him.
Pardon me? What was that last part?
I was trying to put together the information I had to help him.
And you put together these details about Kyle responding to you taking out a gun with anger and aggression. Yeah?
That's correct.
That's your claim of what happened after you pulled out the gun?
That is correct.
You claimed, you put together these details about Kyle advancing towards you, quickening his pace after you pulled out the firearm?
That is what I said in the statement. That's correct.
But it's not true, is it?
It's not. What I saw in the video?
Yeah.
But this is what I was trying, this is what I remembered at the time. That is correct.
It's the claim you made, but you know it's not
saying it's
true,
not.
correct?
Like I said, what I saw in the video
Yeah.
is what I explained to you. What I saw here is what I was trying to remember.
Okay,
I was
let's just
extremely tired.
Let's just be clear about this. What happened in the video is true, correct?
Absolutely.
What you claimed happened is not, correct?
Sure.
Right?
Yes, what is here does not seem to be what appears in the video.
That was
Ouch.
a lie, what you told to the police.
No, that was me not remembering. Again, I was extremely tired. I was doing my best to help him.
Judge, can we approach?
Okay, it's always bad when you get the defendant to admit that what they said was not true. In this case, we knew this day was coming.
There's no going to take a 5-minute recess just to stretch our legs, use the facilities. We'll try back here in around 5 minutes if we can, so we can continue on. Okay? Very good.
Please rise.
What are we doing? A pour dyer? Nope. Judge says I'm taking my computer and I'm going. I'm out of here. He's still in the stand. He's not going to talk to his lawyer. Let's turn it down for just a minute. So loud in this courtroom. Not over yet. We're close to going up to North Dakota, just not yet. So hold tight. What do you think of his story? I was trying to work with what I could remember to help the police as best I could. I was blacked out. I remember I was blacked out. I don't remember when I pulled the trigger. All of that was a blur. I know he wasn't facing me when I shot him, but as soon as I drew my gun, I blacked out. I don't remember shooting. It's getting difficult to keep the story straight. I think it looks like a lie. Okay, quick check on something. Is this too loud?
It's bigger than you. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than all of us.
Okay, so that sounds good, but I cannot get it to play for some reason. Looks and smells like a lie. I remember him threatening me We've got the bomb in there. I don't know where that went. Why did the bomb disappear? Where did our counter go? There it is. Are we back? It's too small. That's good. All right. Couple thoughts. Karma Justice says, I think he should have owned up to it in the beginning and taken his punishment. What he's doing now is just a mockery of justice, in my opinion. If only he had not talked to the police, he would definitely be in a better spot as a defendant because he wouldn't have to explain everything, although he still would have the video that he'd have to account for. Myrtle the Turtle says, I believe him. I think he was traumatized. I think he was traumatized, but the problem with his story is he's got this memory that is selective at best. He can recall certain things like Kyle coming out of his house and putting his shirt on, which he did as soon as he came out of the door. That shirt was going on as soon as he stepped off the porch. He can remember that, but then he also says on the stand today, I didn't see him. I didn't even know he was there until I was down at the tire and came up and he's like right in my face. That's the first time I saw him. But he told the police he saw him putting the shirt on. The problem is the police didn't know he was putting the shirt on until later. After he'd made that statement is when they got the video. So he's got these stories that just are not matching up. And it's a problem. Has it cut to the same length as the clip you copied? No, I've made it longer. I've done everything. I mean, this sound effect.
It's bigger than you. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than all of us.
That's beautiful. That's the same sound effect I'm trying to trigger with Lumia Stream, and it's cutting it off like this.
It's bigger than me.
It's just gone. Yep, it's on the right output. Everything's fine. It's just I think it gets quiet and the system thinks it's over. Defense has not rested yet. The state has rested. This may be the only witness for the defense. We still have cross-examination going on, and it may continue for a brief while yet. Is the seal uneven? Okay, I went back, you guys, and I owe the courtroom of North Dakota an apology. Let me see if I can show you this while we're on break. Okay, hang on. Let's go. Let's find a good view. That's not it. Let's try the other one. Okay, this is a good view. Hold on one second. Let me make it full screen. Workspace, viewer mode, cinema viewer. Pop, and we're going to go to, what is it, 6, 5, 3. Let's go to 3. Look at this. Look at this. The camera that zooms in the North Dakota court is as crooked as get out. Look at those curtains behind the judge. They're slanted terribly. The whole courtroom looks like we're on a cruise ship that's in high seas, and everyone should be sliding off to the right. I don't know how I did not notice this before. So of course, when we zoom in on the seal, it looks crooked. But it's either the camera's fault. I think it is the camera's fault. The tripod's just not level. Those are drapes, not curtains. Those are more than drapes. That's like, it's a drape like an X-ray, what do they call it? The bib is a light jacket. So those are lead-lined drapes. The courtroom is slanted. How do you get justice in a crooked court? That's the question. Scrooge's bed curtains, that's a good description. Looks like medieval times. They do remind me of a tapestry that we had hanging in our house growing up, that we actually got from a mortuary when they were redesigning. It's a beautiful little tapestry. Okay. Sky Mama, please explain the difference between drapes and curtains. Those were the sails from Christopher Columbus. Weebug says, of course the seal is straight. We do things right in North Dakota. Barb Russell says, I watched Cold Justice episode last night about the roommate trial. To tell you the truth, I think they have the wrong person. I'm looking forward to watching this one today to see what's up with that. Make sure we're latest and greatest, which we are. Yeah, it's a good judge. We can hear him pretty clearly. Court is going to be starting soon. We're going to try to finish the cross-examination here in New Hampshire before we jump up to North Dakota. And then we'll skip breaks and everything to get caught up. If it hasn't, I don't think it's started yet, but if it has, we'll catch up quickly. Watch it together. Not seen it. Why wasn't Kyle's daughter afforded a support pet? She was. She brought the bunny. It was a comfort animal. Curtains are more lightweight, and drapes are light canceling and insulated for the winter months here in the tundra of the USA. The Arctic tundra. Hang on. Jason's daughter? Why did I get those confused? So the defendant's daughter brought the bunny. Kyle's daughter didn't request one. Jason's daughter did request a bunny. Why did I get those confused? Thanks for correction. I apologize. It was Jason Levesque's. Levesque. The S is silent. Levesque's daughter brought the bunny. I thought it would have been funny if when he took the stand, he said, there's rabbit poop all over up here. Or something like, raisins. Something like that. I'm tired. Yes. It's the bike ride this morning that did me in, Sloth Life. Apologize, I was completely wrong on that one. Virginia, thanks. Appreciate the straightening out. I needed it. The other Jules member for 8 months says, fun personal news, my job is hiring. I get to go back to my old position, show up 1 day a week, also on call with 40 hours of pay. That's awesome. That's awesome. Congratulations. Thank you for 8 months of support. Let's see if they're done with cross-examination here. I don't know how many times they need to drag out that he told 2 different stories at 2 different times. Today's is convenient. The day of the crime, it was not. Let's see. Would I be allowed my support potbelly pig in court? I don't know. Got to ask the judge. It helps to be subpoenaed and not have a the ability to say no.
Please rise, jury entering.
Play in a handbasket.
Please be seated.
Congratulations on the new computer.
Ladies and gentlemen, the bar can resume.
Thanks. Let me try and clear up this claim that you made. You said you pointed the firearm at him, and Mr. Violet continued to come at you at a fast pace.
I believe that's what I said there. That is correct.
So it's what you said, and you agree that that is not what is depicted on the video.
I do not believe I saw him approaching at a fast pace in the video. That's correct.
But just this distance piece, you claim that when you brought out the firearm, and this is at 49, line 21, that he was at 10 feet away. Correct?
Yes, that is what I said.
But that's the point you claimed when you brought out the firearm, and then you said he continued to close the distance by walking rapidly at you.
Where's that?
What's that?
Where is that?
That's what we were just talking about. First of all, you established about a 10-foot distance from when you pulled out the firearm, but you claimed to the police and to this jury that he continued to walk towards you, right?
I claimed that right there when I watched the video.
No, not right there. Repeatedly to the officer. You can see that at 48, line 13 or 14. He was coming back at me like he was ready to go after you drew the firearm. That's at 14, line 13.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so if we combine that at 49, you said it's 10 feet that you brought out the firearm, and he continued to walk it towards you at a very rapid rate before you fired it. He's about 3 to 5 feet away, according to your claim, to the police.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to back you up. I'm just confused as to what you're saying here. You just said 10 feet, now 3 to 5 feet.
You brought out the firearm, and you can read this for the jury. You brought out the firearm when he was 10 feet away.
That's correct.
How far away was he when the gun first came out? Is the question. Probably 10 feet.
I believe that to be accurate.
The police asked you, how did he react when the firearm came out? And you said he actually continued to come at me, quicken his pace, appeared like he was going to attack me. So if he's coming at you and quickening your pace from 10 feet away, you don't shoot the firearm until he's about 3 to 5 feet away from you. That was your claim. Like he's right on you.
Again, what was said here, I don't remember because it was that evening and I was doing the best I could with what I could remember.
You would once again agree that that's not what the video depicts, correct? He's much further away.
I don't know where I said 3 to 5 feet.
That's when you actually shot him the second time, but I'm just doing basic,
I'm sorry.
Distance and time.
Sorry, I thought we were talking about the first time I shot him.
We are. If you pulled out the gun at 10 feet and he continued to walk rapidly towards you before you fired, you must be about 5 feet away, right?
Can I just ask one favor real quick?
Yeah.
I would like to answer you as honestly as possible. If we could just kind of slow it down
no problem.
And stick with one thing at a time.
Sure.
You were referencing the first time I shot him, and then you just jumped to the second time I shot him.
Sure.
So I want to make sure I'm giving you an accurate and honest answer.
My bad. You pulled out the firearm.
That is correct.
You pointed it at him.
I did.
He was about 10 feet away, according to your claim.
I believe so, yes.
After you pulled out the firearm from 10 feet away, he continued to advance on you rapidly.
That is what I stated here. However, after watching the video, that is not what I saw.
Okay. In fact, it's just not true what you said there.
What I saw in the video is not what I said here. That is correct. And I told you, I was trying to do the best I could with what I remembered.
I just want to make this clear. Your claim that after pulling the firearm out that he advanced on you rapidly and aggressively isn't true, correct?
Not from what I saw in the video. That is correct.
It is what you claimed happened to the police.
That is correct.
And so your claim was he quickened his pace, and that's why you actually had to fire the firearm.
That is what I said in the statement.
And that's not true.
Not from what I saw in the video.
You nevertheless fired the firearm after Mr. Violet stopped and turned away from you.
Yes, I did.
Your claim that you shot him as he was coming at you was not true.
He was coming at me.
You shot him when he had stopped and turned away from you.
Again, if we'd like to play the video and see the time elapsed there, I mean, things are happening very quickly. We're not sitting in a courtroom in a perfect situation where things, you know, we're talking about something that happened very quickly. So the time that it was there, I'm not 100%.
But you've seen the video repeatedly along with us, and you'd agree with me.
I'd love to watch it with a timestamp so we can see how long that really was.
You know, the jury's going to have that. Our question for you, you know, without that, is whether you can adhere to the truth.
Absolutely.
Okay. You agree with me that Kyle Violet had stopped and turned before you fired the gun?
That is correct.
Okay. And so your claim that he was coming at you was a lie?
He was coming at me. You're talking in a matter of 2 seconds, a second and a half maybe. I don't know. But what I saw unfolding in front of my eyes, the exact second that he turned and the firearm fired, we're talking milliseconds, maybe a second. So I'm sorry that I misstated it in the statement to the police. Everything happened very quickly, and I was doing my best to try and help explain the situation.
You'd agree with me that you shot Kyle in the side of the head, or the front part of his head, and his jaw?
From the evidence that we saw, there was a shot that happened. When it happened, I have no clue.
You don't have any idea where you shot him?
I have no idea when I shot him, where.
You told the police that the next 5 shots went into the lower part of his body.
I believe they did.
And that actually happened to be, for the most part, true. You shot him in the buttocks, the genitals, the abdomen, correct?
I believe so.
And let's then talk about your claims about why you shot him 5 more times.
This is the kicker right here.
The detective asked you, was it your intention to kill him? And your answer was no, just to stop him. And this concerns the next 5 rounds.
And that is correct. I've never wanted to kill anybody.
And you explained to the detective that you just wanted to stop him because after shooting him once in the head, it didn't stop him. That was your claim.
Again, if it's in here, that is what I told the detective.
And that's a lie.
That was me not knowing. That was me trying to help somebody. Did I purposefully lie? No, I did not. Did I maybe give misinformation because I couldn't put it together correctly in my head? That would be more likely.
You described in detail the effect that first shot to his head had. That you said, I think it affected him as in he heard the shot, but it didn't stop him. You agree you said that? It's page 111, 6 through 8.
If it's in here, then I said it. However, is it what I remember? I don't remember what I said to them that evening.
Well, does this help your memory that is what you in fact said?
It does not help my memory.
Would you agree that was what you did say, based on what you see, is an absolute lie?
I'm not sure what you're saying.
Well, you claimed that the first shot didn't seem to affect him. That was a lie.
That's what I remembered, or I tried to piece together. What we saw in the video, that is incorrect.
You said the first shot didn't seem to stop him. That was a lie.
What I remembered was incorrect.
You nevertheless, not remembering in this interview, continue to give detailed accounts of his reaction. It didn't hurt him.
But that's correct. Whatever's in here is what I said.
You claimed at the time that you did in fact have a memory of an observation. You said he flinched.
Again, I don't remember saying that. I don't remember it's him flinching.
The detective asked you, does he stay on his feet after that first shot? And you were able to give an answer. Not, I don't remember. Not, I'm tired. Not, I'm confused. You said, yeah, he stayed on his feet.
That is correct. That's what I said.
Your claim was not that you didn't remember how he reacted, but that he flinched and that he was still heading towards you after you shot him in the head.
I don't believe. Where does it say I shot? I said I shot him in the head.
You didn't say it. Let's keep it that after the first shot, which shot him in the head, that he was still heading for you. Page 56, line 20. You know, let me be fair to you. I feel like I've misspoken. Garson at 13, does he stay on his feet? Your answer is, yeah. Well, when the first shot, his question goes off, and you said he turned, which way did he turn? So you mean he counterclockwise or clockwise, you ask, like which direction was he turning? So he turned, he was still heading for me. And then he started going back towards his house. That's after you shot him. He didn't continue towards you, did he?
What we saw in the video, he did not continue towards me. Again,
you were willing to describe to the officer that he was continuing to head towards you, and you actually gave the explanation. That's why I fired the rest of the shots. That's at page 134.
Again, I don't remember what I said here. What I was trying to do was use the best of what I had for a memory of the situation and piece the things together.
Well, let's just go to page 134, line 2. You actually give a detailed account. Garson's asked, I'm more concerned about what happened with these next 5 shots. You answer at line 4. The first shot didn't seem to stop him or to hurt, to stop him. That's why I fired the rest of the shots.
And then it says I don't. Again, I don't remember. I didn't remember. I was trying to piece together what I thought was what happened.
Well, you went on actually to say, let's follow up on it. I don't. Where was his body positioned on those next 5 shots? There you say he was on the ground, but that's only after he presents you with the video, correct?
I said that I believe he's on the ground. I don't see anywhere something what we're being presented with the video.
But before he said anything about the video, you said he was still on his feet, correct?
Again, I didn't have a clear memory. That's why I offered the video to help clear things up. I thought we could go over the video so we could all work on it together and see exactly what transpired.
You were specifically asked at 56 whether he stayed on his feet, and you said, yeah, he was still heading towards me. He took a couple of steps, and that's why you unloaded the gun, your words, unloaded at page 57.5.
And I moved. Yes, that is what I said there.
And you didn't say anything about him crawling away on the ground, right?
Again, I did not have a perfect memory of the situation.
Well, not just not perfect. You said he was walking towards you, that he, after the first shot, took a couple steps towards you, and that's why you had to shoot him 5 more times.
Again, what I said here is what I was trying to remember at the time.
And that at this point, you said the 5 additional rounds, you were standing 3 to 5 feet away, correct?
I don't know, where does it say 3 to 5 feet?
57, line 14.
So, yeah, I mean, when I was standing, when I fired the last 5 shots, I believe I was probably about 5 feet away.
Yeah, and the reason you were 5 feet away is because you originally shot him from a distance away. You put the gun down, so there's absolutely no risk to you or anybody else, and you took probably 4 or 5 steps to close that distance. So you were 3 or 5 feet away, and that's when you unloaded 5 rounds on him, correct?
Correct, when he was going towards my steps.
I'm sorry. Your claim to the jury is with crawling on the ground with a headshot, that he continued to be a threat because he was crawling towards your porch?
That's the direction he was going. That's correct.
My question was, are you claiming to the jury that Mr. Violet was a threat, a lethal threat to you and your family when he was on the ground crawling away from you?
He was crawling towards my house, yes.
Maybe I'm confusing this question. My question to you is, was he a lethal threat to you and your family when he was crawling on the ground with a headshot?
At the time, that was my belief. And I did not know he had a headshot. I told you I don't know where the rounds hit.
You'd agree that he did not remain standing, correct?
Correct.
Your claim that he was a lie?
Again, we're referencing this, which I told you I don't remember. I was doing my best at the time to help them piece things together.
In fact, you did not tell the police that he was crawling away. You said he continued to advance towards you, and that's why you shot him 5 more times. And even then, your claim is he didn't go to the ground. Is that page 58, line 1?
Again, I was trying my best with what I remembered to help them. That's why I offered the video, because I didn't have a clear memory. I'm trying to help you understand that.
I'm trying to help the jury understand your claims at the time to the police to create a self-defense scenario. You claimed that you shot him once and he continued at you, and that's why you had to shoot him again.
Again, what it says here is what I said to the police.
And it was a lie.
It was not a purposeful lie. It may not have been what happened because I didn't have a clear memory.
You claim that after shooting him in the face, he came towards you. You shot him 5 times in the body and he remained standing, held his abdomen, and that's when he walked back towards his house.
I never claimed I shot him in the face.
That he's holding his abdomen.
I did claim that. However, I never claimed I shot him in the face.
And that whole image, that detailed image you provided of him coming at you after he'd been shot, taking 5 rounds and merely holding his abdomen and turning and walking away is also a complete and utter lie.
At the time, it's what I remembered, so that's what I told them.
Your claim here is that, the difference, the gap between him coming at you and him crawling away, bleeding on the street. Page 16, Exhibit 16, you'd agree that that is the blood trail that he left from you shooting him.
That's correct.
And this gap factual gap between him coming at you and him crawling away, it's just your memory that night because you were tired.
That is correct.
Your claim is that you were not trying to create perception from the police that this was a justified shooting by making that stuff up.
I'm not really sure what you're talking about.
Talking about the claims you made that have no basis in reality and the reason why you were making those claims.
I was making those claims to try and help piece together the situation to help the police.
Isn't it easier that you were making those claims, so-called self-defense claim?
I didn't know what a self-defense claim was that evening.
Except that you explained to the officers that because he was coming at you, I needed to protect myself and my family. That was a lie, but it's self-defense, isn't it?
That is not a lie. That is exactly what I was thinking. I'm sorry, I'm not an attorney. I don't know what a self-defense claim consists of.
You think you need to be an attorney to know whether somebody's crawling away, dying?
Well, now we're talking about something different. Now we're talking about somebody crawling away, dying. You just said a self-defense claim.
Got under his skin.
Can we answer the questions you're giving?
Sure, but you used the actual terms of, I needed to shoot him, in order to protect myself and my family.
That is correct.
Okay. Except that he wasn't really coming at you anymore, right?
When?
When you pulled out the gun before you shot him, he wasn't coming at you.
He was coming at me when I pulled out the gun.
He wasn't coming at you anymore after you shot him in the head and he started crawling back towards his house.
Again, I don't know when I shot him in the head.
They made one
He
objection.
wasn't coming at you when he was on the ground crawling away from you before you emptied 5 rounds into his body.
That is correct.
He wasn't walking away holding his abdomen after you shot him 5 times.
That is correct.
All of those claims were lies, correct?
All of those claims were what I believed happened that night. As we saw in the video, that is not what happened.
Thank you, Your Honor. Those were my questions.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Any redirect?
Can I actually just have a moment to stop?
He's going to go again.
I just want to gather some of my materials. Thank you. Sorry.
Redirect. That means there's probably going to be recross again.
Jason, let me ask you a few things that you definitely remember, okay?
Yes.
Would it be accurate and true that Kyle initiated the contact with you?
That is correct.
Any doubt at all?
There's no doubt in my mind.
And when he initiated that contact with you, did he threaten you?
Yes, he did.
I'm going to ask you whether it's true that Violet stuck his face right into your face.
That is true.
Okay, now, if you were fabricating a self-defense, let me ask you this. We got to see the video, right?
That is correct.
Do you remember even telling the police that he stuck his very flesh on your flesh that night?
That I don't remember.
Right. But if you were fabricating a really good self-defense, that'd be a cool thing to tell him, wouldn't it?
I guess I'm not sure what a self-defense really is completely, so.
But the fact of the matter is, in the video, it is extremely clear that he touched you with his face, right?
That is correct.
Did police ever ask you whether or not he literally touched his body to your body?
I can't be 100% certain.
Did you take that as a threat when he did it?
I absolutely did.
And isn't it true, and do you have a clear recollection, that Violet appeared out of control and agitated?
Yes, that is true.
And is that what you told the police?
I believe so, yes.
Now, there's been some cross-examination. I think there's been a little confusion, and I want to straighten it out a little for you. There's a reference to the October or November incident. Remember, you were being cross-examined by the prosecutor at the beginning of his cross-examination, and he referred you to page 142 and 143. And I'll ask you to
Hold on just a moment, please.
get those up for yourself. And let's give the jury the totality of what we're talking about, the little snippets, okay?
Okay.
He's trying to come
Now,
across
you
as
remember the October
as
event
kind and thoughtful
clearly.
one.
Yes.
You remember
very
that
personable.
without any question, right?
Yes.
And let's see what we got here. Detective Garson's asking you, I guess 6, 7, 8, what was happening back then?
Yes.
And then you give an answer, and it starts on line 10, right?
Yes.
Why don't you tell the jury what you told the detective with regard to your recollection of the October 2023 incident?
I'm sorry, I just want to be clear. Did you want me to read this?
I do.
Okay. It says, I said, right. So I was standing out pressure washing the front of my house. It was, I want to say it was fall, but it doesn't seem like it's been long since that happened. But again, time flies, right? Anyway, in the past few months, we'll say, there's only been one day I was out front pressure washing the house. And this guy came out of the driveway next door at 43 Summer Street, yelling and screaming at me, telling me I'm a rat, and I called the cops on him, and he was going to fucking kill me and my fucking family.
Okay, stop right there. He says that you called the cops on him, right?
There's 2 more.
That's what I said, yes.
And that he was going to fucking kill you and your family.
That is correct.
There's not a conditional threat there.
No, I don't believe conditional. I'm not really 100%.
All right, it's a threat, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, why don't you go on?
I don't even know who he is. I'm assuming he probably lived there because he came from that driveway, but I've never seen him before.
Okay, so you're telling the detective that in that incident, you didn't even know where he was, who he was, right?
That is correct.
And you were assuming he was your next door neighbor, right?
That is correct.
But it goes on, right? And then Garson says, yeah. And then on line 25, you continue. What do you say?
I have no knowledge of him or anything.
And Garson says, you don't even know his name.
And I said, no clue.
Right, now we're talking about October, right? Right?
October, November, yes.
And you didn't know his name then?
No, I did not.
You assumed he was your neighbor, right?
That is correct.
Okay, keep going. No clue, and what does Garson say?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you say?
I never had an interaction with him at all, ever in my life.
You're talking about the October incident.
Objection leading.
Correct.
Objection leading.
I'm sorry, what incident are you?
To be completely, I'm not actually sure.
Garson says, yeah, right?
Right.
And then you say, what do you say then?
And I said, I wouldn't be able to pick him if you said, here's 3 people, pick one of them as your neighbor. I honestly wouldn't be able to pick him. I had never seen him before.
All right. Now, by April 4th, you had seen him before, right?
Objection leading.
Had you seen him prior to April? Sorry, had you seen him prior to April 4th?
One other time.
And when was that?
October or November.
Now, there's definitions of lies, there's definitions of mistakes, there's definitions of inaccuracies. Did you intentionally intend to deceive the police department when you sat down voluntarily to give a statement on April 4th into April 5th, 2024?
Absolutely not.
And again, what were you trying to do?
I wanted to help them figure out what went on.
And was one of those helping things the video?
Absolutely. My memory, like I said, I was tired. My memory wasn't completely clear. I figured with the video and with me, we could get through and find out exactly what happened and clear, so we had a clear picture of what happened.
Okay. Now, you've gotten to see some of the videos, right?
Yes, I have.
Can you assure the jury that it was a quick situation that night?
Absolutely.
Were you making measurements or timing anything or anything like that?
No, I was not. It happened very quickly.
And in your position that you were at the time, were you in a situation where you could make clear calculations?
No, I was not.
You know, the prosecutor asked you to speculate as to whether or not Violet made any actions or said anything toward your daughter, right?
Objection to characterization. I didn't ask him to speculate. I asked him to testify whether he saw it.
Okay. Did you see whether or not he did anything toward your daughter?
I did not see him do anything towards my daughter.
But where was your daughter?
She was in the truck.
How far away was your daughter from Violet?
At which point?
At the time he came up and stuck his nose on your cheek.
I would say approximately 6 feet, maybe 8 feet, the distance of a vehicle from one side to the other.
And was she in the front seat?
She was in the front seat.
Was there a clear glass windshield in the front of the truck?
There was.
Can you see through it?
There was. Yes, you could. I mean, I believe I wasn't facing that direction, so I guess I believe you could, but I didn't look that way.
Were you concerned for her safety at that time?
Absolutely.
The video camera questioning that you had with the prosecutor, you got new video cameras after the October event, correct?
Correct. The digital video, closed circuit ones. I did have some Wi-Fi ones before that.
And why did you get the digital ones? This is to make sure we're clear on the problem.
Because I was having issues with the connectivity with the Wi-Fi cameras. I've actually had to get a new router system that for some reason those cheap cameras don't always connect or they don't record events. So it just wasn't consistent.
And why did you want them to be consistent and accurate?
In case there was another incident, then if I had to go to the police or whatever, I would have proof of what happened instead of it was he said, she said.
And that was a specific reaction, was it?
That was.
Were you trying your best to remember things at the police station?
I was.
Were you willing to go over anything they wanted to go over with you?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You call?
Just briefly.
Concerning this, your ability to claim who was making this threat 6 months earlier. I want to continue to follow up. Attorney, since you've been there, this is page 143. You confirmed that whoever made the threat, you'd never had any interactions with them before, and yet Kyle Violet had been living there for about 1.5 years. Correct?
I don't know.
You said whoever that person was out there, I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. Correct?
Yes.
You said, and that's even assuming he is my neighbor. Whoever made the threat back in October, you didn't know who they were.
I was saying I didn't know if that person was my neighbor.
The attorney sister just asked, geez, if you were, trying to tee up a self-defense claim, wouldn't you have included that he actually had physical contact with your face? Remember him asking you that?
Again, this self-defense claim, I'm not sure. I don't understand that. I don't get what the basis would be or how I develop one. I don't understand how the law works like that. So when you keep referencing that, I want to make sure I'm giving you an honest answer and complete.
That's terrible.
So is there any other way you can work so maybe I can understand?
Yeah, I guess let's talk about your understanding of self-defense.
Sure.
You own a firearm.
Yes.
It's not a hunting weapon.
That's correct.
You described to this jury that the reason you take this firearm to work is because you were threatened with a machete.
That is correct.
That would be so if something like a machete wielder came at you again, you'd be able to defend yourself.
That is correct.
That's self-defense.
You said self-defense claim.
Yeah, the claim would be somebody came at me with a machete but never did. Okay, that's a claim. That's a false claim of self-defense. All right.
That did happen, though.
Yeah, I don't contest that. A claim of self-defense would be something like, Kyle Violet continued to come after me even after I pointed a weapon at him. That would be a false claim of self-defense because he actually stopped.
No, self-defense would be like, I shot someone who was attacking me with a machete.
Okay.
That's a claim of self-defense.
Again.
Does that make sense to you?
So you're explaining that's what the claim.
I'm asking you, does that make sense to you?
I believe so.
Does it make sense to you that a claim of self-defense would include something like, I shot him, but didn't affect him at all. He may have flinched.
That was me not having a clear memory.
Okay. Would you understand this to be a false claim of self-defense, that I shot him and he continued to come at me when he really didn't? Does that make sense to you?
Again, that was me trying to remember and having a false memory while I was trying to construct what happened.
Would it make sense to you, a false claim of self-defense, that somebody was on the ground crawling away from you and you claim that they were actually coming at you? Do you understand that as a false claim of self-defense?
Again, I understand what I said in here. I was giving it the best representation I could at the time.
And just, to get down to a more narrower point,
Attorneys are talking to each other briefly.
And, Attorney Sisti asking you whether you had included in your claim, because if you were trying to confabulate a self-defense claim, you would have included that he touched your face, that he touched you physically, right?
Again,
remember him asking you that?
Again, I don't remember if anybody asked me that.
Okay. Let me just make it simple then. You did tell the police, this is page 40, line 14, 15, because he was literally, his nose was touching my face.
I believe when Attorney Sisti asked me, I said I was not sure.
Okay, and here it is. You did in fact make that claim.
Absolutely.
You did not omit that. That really did happen, correct?
That did happen.
You weren't too tired to omit it. You weren't too confused to omit it, correct?
Omit? I don't know.
Omit, not stated.
I'm
40,
not, can you?
14, 15.
This is brutal.
Again, I'm not sure what you're asking me right at the moment.
Well, I'm asking you right now.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Okay, and so that being, you touched your face with his nose, correct?
Yeah, I did say that.
And let me just make this really clear. When Kyle was in that original wingspan in front of your truck,
Yes.
making these threats about snow,
Yes.
you didn't shoot him, right?
No, I did not.
It was only after you claimed he was coming after you, despite brandishing your gun, that you shot him.
So, that is correct.
It was only after that he continued to come after you, after the first shot, that you put 5 more rounds on him when he was standing and increasing his pace towards you.
Again, that's not what happened. We saw from the video.
But it's
what
what
I said in here was what I remembered at the time, and I was trying to help with what I had from memory, which obviously was not correct.
Well, it was actually a lie, wasn't it?
If you'd like my definition of a lie, that's purposely not telling the truth. What I was trying to do was take whatever memories I had and piece them together with the detectives to try and figure out what happened.
And just finally, can you confirm that it was in fact Detective Garston that brought up any video associated with that night of it?
I was the first one to bring up cameras at the house. Then he asked me if he could have access to them.
Okay. So early in the conversation, you said that you had a video back in October, correct?
That is correct.
And then later in the conversation, and by the way, when you brought up that there was video, you didn't suggest to him, hey, take a look at this video to come to a better understanding about what happened, right?
I don't remember the exact sequence of events, but I'm sure we can read it in the testimony.
In fact, it's at page 66, line 18, that it was the detective who asked, are there any cameras to cover this incident tonight, correct?
That's correct, and I said yes.
He brought it up, correct?
I'm sorry, what?
Detective Garston brought it up, correct?
He did ask me that question, that's correct.
Thank you.
He asked you a question, you said he had help.
That is correct.
But he didn't have to answer it.
Leading, I think it's beyond the scope of
on the scope, it is legal.
It's not beyond the scope, isn't it?
I said yes, he could have them, and I gave him the passwords for them.
I think Attorney Barr reiterated something that's actually true. You accurately and distinctly, without any question, remember telling the police that
Kyle
Wilder touched you with his face.
What's the objection?
Touched you with his face.
Yes, it did say that in there that I said that to the police.
Great. Thank you very much. This witness can be excused. Should we take a break at this point, or we take a brief recess?
Another break?
We'll take a brief recess, folks, and we'll be right back. Please rise.
Is he taking the breaks for his clerk? Brief break. Let's see if we get a brief insight as to what's happening next. Wait for the jury to leave. Everyone's standing around. Wait for the door to shut. Their door's shut.
Okay, witness can step down. I just wanted the jury out of the issues between moving around the courtroom with the jury. I just wanted issues of security questions. So, do you have any further witnesses after this?
No further witnesses.
No more witnesses.
Resting at this point.
Resting anyway.
I'm sorry? Resting
And renew the motion.
Resting, renew motion, fine. Given the late hour, obviously not getting to closing arguments or charging. So, but I do want to talk about jury instructions while we're still here. After we're getting the jury back in,
Excuse me.
moment, excuse the jury. And then we'll plan for tomorrow. I'd like to try to start tomorrow morning, if possible, at 9:30. I'll be here. All right.
I'll go ahead. Yeah, I'll be there. I was just telling Doc, I got this emergency recall thing. I think they open up the service here at 7.
All right. Drive safely.
Do we do?
Great. All right, so 9:30 we'll try to start because I want to get to the jury as quick as we can tomorrow. I don't know what April, maybe you can help me. Friday's an admin. I know this is a meeting, but is it possible that the jury is not confused tomorrow? We can go on Friday, like deliberation. My preference would be, assuming the jury gets this case tomorrow, assuming the time we will say we get it around lunchtime, right? Let me get this done lunchtime tomorrow. If they go beyond tomorrow, Friday's technically an administrative day. I would want to keep them having a great Friday. Workable for everybody? Yes. Good. All right, very good. So let's take a minute, and then we'll come back. We'll talk jury instructions. Are we ready to do it now?
That's fine.
All right, do it now.
Okay.
Jury.
They're gonna talk about jury instructions really quickly. They're gonna dismiss the jury. Let me just take a quick peek and see if we can pop up back to North Dakota now. The jury's gonna be dismissed for the day. Let's see here. Let's check and see what we got here. See if we can jump over to the Nicole Rice trial, which began a little while ago, and we missed because we were watching this. So we're gonna portal over. We have to portal to keep it clean because because people watch it on replay and they're trying to watch where's part 2 of this and they can never find it. So, all right, we're gonna portal. We're not done. We're just starting our next trial for the day. It's 3:00 in the afternoon. Sure, let's do it, shall we? Tonight, when you go home, please hug the people you love, smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better, and please stay safe till we go live again in moments with day 2 of the North Dakota's trial against Nicole Rice. The bad roommate murder trial. Yeah. Another portal coming up. We've got it all configured, so all you have to do is sit tight and let's see, visibility starting in mere moments. It says 3:15. We'll be done. We'll be live sooner than that. I need to make a thumbnail for this one. I have not even done that yet, so let's get that squared away. Okay, portal has been built and passage secured. All right, everyone, buckle up. We're gonna warp out of this, turn on the music, and see you on the other side.